What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at one last team in the Fantasy Cup with some team that I think you can actually do a pretty good job climbing with. I played these games in the 2700 ELO range, went 7-3, and gained, a good chunk of points with it. And I think that the team itself held up very well against the meta that I saw. And most of the games that I lost were me being a bozo and misplaying. So we got Lucario on the lead because it's Lucario, and I was just infatuated with playing Lucario after watching the battles from the other day. And then we've also got Slurpuff on in the back as a safe swap here. Let's get into the battles here and check it out, because Slurpuff is the feature today because it is such a good safe swap in this meta. Whether you want to run it with Play Rough or Energy Ball, I think both are fine. As you can see here, I would much prefer to have Energy Ball if I could get it. Would make the Azumarill and Tapu Fini matchups much easier, but you don't need it. Play Rough does enough damage, and I overfarm here, like I said. I think that this is a simple, miscalculation on my part, because if I don't overfarm there, I do much better in this matchup, because I think I get to the third Play Rough and I don't in this game. And these the first couple of games here are just me kind of, feeling it out, trying the team out. But good buddy of mine hit Legend with a team, very similar team here, and I can't speak today apparently. Hit Legend with a very similar team. Using Lucario, Azumarill, and I don't remember their other third. I think it was Galarian Weezing. Both of them are fine, and somehow I get countered down despite hitting the Play Rough. So that was the other thing, right? I get the farm down, I get the Play Rough coming out. I was waiting to see what they bring in, and then I get smacked by a Haxorus, which definitely feels bad. Now, I'm pretty sure that there was a delay in the game showing me that Haxorus came in, and then I just get slapped for it. So opponent comes back in with the Shadow Flygon here, and I am going to go for a Play Rough, get that first shield. Looking to go for the next shield here on the bad timing, but just because I need to throw this move, right? So all I can hope at this point is that somehow I can, with a shield, Lucario can come in and can somehow whittle this thing down. I'm going to just shield this up because I feel like it could be a score. No, never mind. I should have shielded it, but I didn't, like a bozo, and I forgot the transition, whatever. It's fine. Next battle, we got Azumarill on the lead. This is really awkward. I go straight to Slurpuff here because, as we've mentioned, if you want to win an Azumarill mirror, you have to get an edge. Now, opponent tries to catch the Energy Ball. I was looking to overfarm and let them at least get to a point where they were going to throw, but now the opponent really has to be afraid of this energy on the Slurpuff, because Flamethrower is going to KO, and they're going to need Shield in order to take anything out of this matchup, and they do, but I'm going to be able to get to another Flamethrower before they can farm me down here, but I'm just going to let it go. I've taken my switch advantage. My opponent threw as soon as they had the move, and unfortunately for me, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 to the second Sky Attack, because I haven't memorized the Steel Wing counts yet. So I go for a counter down here, and I'm thinking if they get to 6, then I'm going to throw the Power Up Punch. They weren't going to throw. I could have farmed all the way down, and I would have been much better off for it. But Power Up Punch is going to KO. I have a shield advantage, and with this Power Up Punch, I can shield once and go for, I think, 7 more counters because they threw Play Rough. I can go for 6 or 7 more counters depending on what I'm feeling, but I go for 7 because I feel like they're going to throw on good timing, which they do. So I go straight for the Shadow Ball here, and that's going to do a ton of damage, and then I'm popping into my Azumarill. Now, I can easily tank this. I would much rather take this energy and redirect it to my Azumarill than tank it on my Lucario after shield. The opponent comes in with Flygon, and unfortunately, Flygon wins the 2s, but doesn't win the 1s. I just need to get to 2 Play Roughs here, and I can take out the Flygon, and then Lucario is plenty healthy enough, and I can save my shield for it if I need to. Opponent going for the Scorching Sands, doing a ton of damage to, well, I wouldn't say a ton, but a fair amount of damage to what's left, and I once again go for the move on the bad timing, on the alignment, because I just want to get the move off. That's all that matters to me in this moment, is getting that move off. Opponent's going to concede the match, and that's going to be a good game. Getting into the next battle here, we're going to have Lucario on the lead versus a Slurpuff. This is a bit of a tight situation. I immediately swap into my own Slurpuff because if I can, I mean, this is really the only answer I have to it. My opponent swaps into a Turtonator with as good timing as I can muster with this thing. I'm going to go for Play Rough because they come in with the Turtonator expecting me to have Energy Ball, Flamethrower. Now, unfortunately for me, my opponent has no fear. They're going to go ahead and go straight for the overheat, and what I should have done here is I should have gone for the Play Rough, but I'm thinking that they're probably going to try to win this matchup. So I go for Flamethrower to try and bait a shield, and my opponent does not fall for it. So now, because the flamethrower is going to be enough to KO them at this point, I'll go for another flamethrower, see what they want to do. They just let it go, and I'm okay with that, but unfortunately that also means that my only Slurpuff answer is now about to be gone because I can't go down no shields to this thing. So they go for the energy ball. I have to come in with my Azumarill because I really can't come in with my Lucario at this point, and I'm just going to hope that I can outbulk this thing, honestly. That's about all I can do. They have a shield advantage on me. Feels kind of bad, man. And Slurpuff, really, really strong in this meta as a good core breaker. Even if, like I said, even if you're not running Energy Ball, I think that it's just super strong. And I don't really know. It's going to depend entirely on what they have in the back. If they have a Lucario counter in the back, I'm pretty much toast. Let's be honest here. Opponent going for another move here. That Energy Ball is going to come very, very close to knocking me on my rear. But because Azumarill is an absolute unit, able to hang on with just 1 or 2 HP, get that player off. My opponent swaps into a Flygon, and I know it's over because they're going to get to the Scorching Sands before I can get to my Shadow Ball by far, and that's going to be a good game here. Let's give him the button. Boom! Good game. Getting into our next battle here, we've got Lucario on the lead versus a Magnezone. You love to see it. Opponent's going to immediately swap into a Weezing, and I'm going to come in with my Azumarill because I feel like I don't really have another strong option, especially if I'm expecting this Weezing to be running Sludge. I'm running Hydro Pump on my Azumarill because I don't believe in running Ice Beam when I don't have to, right? Because I don't feel like there's obviously targets for Ice Beam in this meta, but Hydro Pump hits the Steels and the Fairies. I feel like it's better coverage, and I mean, it hits harder too, so there's also that. It's also been proven that a Hydro Pump a day keeps the elo away. I don't know where I was going with that. Don't listen to me. But I'm able to get 2 shields down against the opponent without giving up a single one of mine with both of these Hydro Pumps. Yeah, sure, maybe Ice Beam would have got me that game because it's a lot less expensive, but honestly, I'm fine with that. I'm going to come in with my Slurpuff now because I know that I've got I've got shields, I've got HP, I'm fine. Opponent goes for a Play Rough. Wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to have Sludge and Overheat. So I'm going to shield the second move up because I'm going to be able to get to a Flamethrower to take this Weezing out. But because they go for Overheat, I'm going to overfarm by a bit because I know that the opponent did not have enough energy for back-to-back or close to it. So I'll overfarm by a little bit just to make sure that I can get a Flamethrower off against this Magnezone. But getting close, dude. Flamethrower, is it going to be enough? I'm pretty sure it hurts a lot. Flamethrower. Boom! One-shotting that Magnezone, and now it's one shield Lucario against the Azumarill, and this is tough, and I did this at least 4 or 5 times when I played this team, I was so thrown off by the visual effects of the fast moves that I messed my timing up, and I just kept going, because I'm like, all right, I just need to get to 2 here, and then the opponent gets to a move. And I'm like, okay, well, if I had thrown my moves with proper timing like I was trying to do, and the Ice Beam even KOs. But, hold on a minute now, get into the Play Rough with the Slurpuff at the last second to be able to make up for my bozo-headed decision to overfarm like that, and that's going to be a good game, very well played, despite literally one-shotting the Magnezone. That was a lot closer than I should have let it be, but very good game. Getting another really dominating lead here with Lucario into an Alolan Sandslash, and then they come in with the Dedenne, and I have nothing. So, I'm going to bait at 7, because I know that they're going to get to their Play Rough at 7, and they no-shield. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is a Blaze Kick. Maybe they should shield it. No. The trainer was called that. I wish I had Blaze Kick sometimes. I think Power-Up Punch overall has been fine, but if you wanted to run Blaze Kick, I certainly don't think there's a problem with it. Discharges are going to do a ton of damage here. I'm just looking to get rid of this Dedenne because it is a huge problem. Going for the less expensive Flamethrower here because it should be enough to KO, and I'm thinking maybe I can get to another one, but unfortunately, the discharges are going to take me down. So with 2 shields, I noticed how much damage those counters were doing. I feel like it'd be a lot better to bring in Lucario because I'm going to be able to take out their Dedenne a lot quicker with this than if I were to bring in a Azumarill and try to bubble down. So I have to invest both shields to keep Lucario kind of healthy here, but thankfully we're going to be able to get this farm down. We're going to see what's in the back. The opponent has an Azumarill. If I can manage to get their shield here, my Azumarill can Hydro Pump the Alolan Sandslash, and now suddenly alignment doesn't matter as much. And now, because I've got the Lucario so loaded up on energy, I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball. I go on bad timing in case they have the Ice Beam, but now I'm immediately pivoting into my Azumarill, and I'm just going to go for the Hydro Pump, and I'm going to go for the KO against this thing. There's no way. There's no way I'm not going for that Hydro Pump right now. Opponent might be hoping that I have Ice Beam and Play Rough, but unfortunately they're about to find out today that is not the case. Going straight for the Hydro Pump, looking to eliminate this Alolan Sand Slash.
Boom!
An opponent comes back in with their Azumarill, but I'm slightly ahead on HP. All I have to do is land a Play Rough and make sure that they're out of energy. Lucario can even finish this off if I can survive those bubbles. And now CMP tie going for the Play Rough. This is perfect because my opponent now is forced to throw that energy, and they won't be able to throw it at my Lucario. And even though Lucario's counters are resisted, they still do a fair amount of damage. And even in Azumarill, you're going to see they do enough damage to matter. Going to be able to KO at the very last second. Good game. All right, getting into the next battle. We got Lucario against another Alolan Sand Slash. Great lead. And we have to remember, too, that even though they swap out, Slurpuff does have play here because it has Flamethrower. So what I do here is I do a bunch of counters, and then I'm going to come into my Azumarill because my opponent has to throw Moonblast, which is more expensive, and it allows me to absorb these water guns much easier than if I were to come in with Slurpuff, especially against a loaded Tapu Fini. Definitely not something that I'm looking to do here. So I'm going to go for the Play Rough. And once again, because both Lucario and Slurpuff have very good matchups into the Alolan Sand Slash, I'm fine going out of this and bowing out here with shield advantage. And that's what's going to matter to me. Now, I'm going to shield once in case they get to another Moonblast. I didn't think they did, but just in case. I didn't want to take another one because I had enough energy for a Play Rough, and I wanted to get this Tapu Fini down pretty low. They invest their second shield. They're still going to have to throw energy before I get to another Play Rough here. So, now we're going to see what the opponent looks to throw. They're going to go for that Surf. Going to take me out, unfortunately. But now the opponent comes in with their Azumarill, and all I have to do is at some point get enough energy on either Lucario or Slurpuff to take out the Tapu Fini in the endgame, and I can easily overcome this. Now, I'm going to come in with my Slurpuff, and my opponent may be expecting me to have the Energy Ball. This is probably going to be the hardest hitting move in the game if it is a Hydro Pump, and it is. Gonna overfarm by a little bit more, hoping the opponent maybe tries to swap out, but we catch him in the middle of a bubble with the good timing, and I have enough energy to easily get to a Flamethrower before the opponent can get to a move on their Alolan Sand Slash. They're going to come back in with the Tapu Fini, need a Play Rough, or they're going to come back in with a Alolan Sand Slash, need a Flamethrower. I'm going to overfarm by a little bit, try to wait and make sure they were in the middle of their fast move before I throw, but the game doesn't really want to show me that until it's kind of too late and I just press the button anyway, but I have enough energy to get to the Play Rough to take out the Tapu Fini. It's going to be a good game. I think Play Rough on Slurpuff really is the better closer kind of moveset, but Play Rough really does hit hard enough to be fine. Now, opponent has a Flygon on the lead, immediately going to go to Slurpuff. They may expect me not to have Play Rough, but they're probably going to shield anyway, so maybe I should just go for the Flamethrower, because it's technically a little bit less energy. But I'm going to shield up once here, let them throw their Scorching Sands, and thankfully no attack drop. I'm going to go for a slight overfarm, then go for my Play Rough to force the shield or take out the Flygon. Opponent not liking this Slurpuff apparently as they're staying in here, and I'm going to go for a Flamethrower bait, but they do swap to catch the Play Rough on a Whimsicott. They're going to find out that that was not a Play Rough. Going for that Flamethrower takes them down low, and then I'm going to be able to go to another Flamethrower before they can even get to a charge move. This should take out, well, this will take out, or get a shield here. Opponent lets the Whimsicott go, even shield still. They come in with Flygon. I now swap in my Azumarill on the fly here to catch a charge move because I feel like maybe my Slurpuff has some value here, and the opponent going for a Scorching Sands, and they just top left. Whatever was in the back was apparently Slurpuff. Getting into the next game here, we've got Lucario on the lead versus a Shadow Magnezone yet again. Loving to see the steal leads. Always going to matter what's in the back. Opponent swaps in a Slurpuff. And this is not a mirror match that I'm particularly fond of. Just like the Azumarill mirror match, you can't come in behind energy. You have to make some sort of dent before you can do that. But fortunately, the Play Rough lands, and that is Slurpuff's hardest hitting move. I'm going to bank that they're not running Play Rough. And because of the extra damage, I actually can farm this all the way down if we both decide to start investing shields. So, in order to try and do this, I'm going to go ahead and invest a shield. Opponent's going to invest a shield. It's all fine. But you can see how close we're getting down to being able to be in farm down range for them. And when two shields are involved, we're going to have to see what the opponent wants to do. They just decide to let it go, take the shield advantage. I'm going to be able to get to the Flamethrower, which is going to force a shield off the opponent. But the problem now being is that farm down from that Magnezone is going to allow them to get to a wild charge against me, and I have to shield it. So it's going to come down to what's in the back. I know the Magnezone has no energy at this point, which is fine. And they have an Azumarill in the back, which is going to be a very tricky end game here. Now, once again, going for Shadow Ball, but apparently, even though it looked like, actually, that might have been good timing or a CMP. But to me, no, that was a CMP. It looked like good timing to me. But the visuals, for some reason, always seem to be off by a turn in this game, and it sucks. So I just lose the only way that I had to win this game. So I'm top lefting. I made a mistake, unfortunate, but it is what it is. Getting into the next game here, we got another Alolan Sandslash on the lead. Would have been a really good day for Turtonator, too, to be honest here. Opponent staying in for a sec. Maybe they got some lag or they weren't sure what to do. But I get 2 free counters out of it, and I'm going to go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball with my Lucario, because I know I can get to a Shadow Ball here before they get to a move, and now because I'm up a shield, I can come in with my Azumarill and look to handle this Azumarill. Now, if you have Slurpuff with Energy Ball, you probably just swap into the Slurpuff right away, because that's a pretty dominant matchup with Energy Ball. You basically two-shot it with the Fairy Winds involved. So, gonna go for Play Rough here, and this is this is an Azumarill mirror. It's boring. I know we all hate it, but here we are, and that's it. So, I'll take the time just in case anybody is interested. If you want to become a member of the channel and God, I can't even speak, dude. I can't even show myself and speak properly. If you want to become a member of the channel and support me, my family, and what we do here, you can go ahead and check links out in the description and the pinned comment for Patreon, as well as the YouTube memberships. You can join. Either way gets you access to my Discord server, where you get early access to my meta guides, as well as my teams and videos if you have the if you're on the second tier. And honestly, any other information that I dump into that server is just up for grabs for anybody in it. Fortunately, I do have to shield up here, but going for a Flamethrower into the Sandslash, and I mean, honestly, I just have to make sure that I roast this thing, get the shield, and hopefully I'm going to not get slapped, but I know I can live a move. I was waiting for that catch. Opponent goes for the Play Rough. I was anticipating they were going to try to catch at some point, so I figured I would overfarm. I know that my my Lucario is going to get destroyed by a Drill Run, but I have a shield, so all I have to do is get to a Flamethrower or punch out the lights on that Alolan Sandslash. But as a follow-up to the shilling, coaching. If anybody's looking to get some coaching, I'm on Metafy. Check the link in the description and the pinned comment as well for that. And we're getting the next game. We got an Azumarill on the lead. I go immediately to Slurpuff. Opponent comes in with a Turtonator. This is probably one of the worst case scenarios. You know, hard counter on the lead and you get Turtonator, because it can just go so ham. And then you're basically forced to come in with a Azumarill if they decide to start shielding. So I shield up here. Opponent went for 4, which is kind of odd. And they went for Flash Cannon as well. Excuse me. So not learning my lesson from last time, I'm going to go for a Flamethrower here, hoping they will shield this time. And they do, which is good. And fortunately, I'm able to get to another Flamethrower before the opponent is going to be able to get to another charge move, and that's going to allow me to hopefully get their other shield, which is fine with me. If I can at least get their other shield, I'm in a good place. Even if they throw a Flash Cannon here, I'm not particularly worried about it. But the opponent, yeah, going for Flash Cannon, all fine. Going for this farm down here, I'm hoping that I can get there, but the opponent gets to a charge move at the last second with 1 HP. If it's another Flash Cannon, that's a problem, but it's just a Dragon Pulse. Opponent not even running a fire charge move, which honestly, respectable. They're going to come back in with their Azumarill. I have my shield advantage, and I'm looking to have to use it. What they have in the back, though, is probably a counter to Lucario, so I'm going to go ahead and swap it in here with a shield. I know that one Shadow Ball is going to be very, very close to being able to KO the opponent here, and after I land that Shadow Ball, easily should be able to handle it with Azumarill. Now, opponent swaps in a Flygon here, and because I have the energy lead this time, I can get to the Shadow Ball and one-shot the Flygon.
Boom!
Now the opponent comes back in with the Azumarill. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball on good timing. I was hoping that they weren't 5 away. That's why I went for 7. I thought about panicking a bit and going for 6 and throwing. But thankfully that gets us the game, so that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. That was a 7-3 run. 2 sets with this team that I played. I played a few sets with a couple other things, but this was really the team that stood out to me. So a really good opportunity to make a last-second ELO push in the Fantasy Cup this week if you're looking for it. And that's going to do it for me for today's video, everybody. Thank you once again so much for coming into this channel. And we got hit 4,000 subscribers, and I didn't think I was ever going to get this far. So I just want to take a minute to really say I appreciate all of you, whether you're watching, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, especially if you like the content. Anybody who's subscribed to the Patreon, Discord, all that stuff, even if you're not subscribed to that, if you're just here on the channel, that helps too, and I thank you very much for all of your support, regardless of what form it takes. That's going to do it for me for today, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.